Okay, today I want to talk to you about the city of Titus. So the first great city on earth. We're talking around 9800 BCE at this point in time. And up to this point in time, Titus has been a collection of settlements. I talked about that in the previous video, where it had basically formed from people coming out of their hunter-gatherer lives and starting to form settlements, and at Titus the settlements grew into one larger settlement. It was near the water, it was in very temperate conditions on really good farmland, and so the settlement grew and grew until Titus became what we consider in the remembered histories of two moons as the first city on planet Earth. Okay, so at this point in time Titus had grown and it looked more like this. It wasn't like the great empirical city it would become, but it was certainly becoming a bigger and bigger city. And they were expanding and using more and more resources to expand the city. And so Merope itself expanded. Towns down in the south, down through here, sprung up, more settlements, etc., and they fed into Titus as well. So bit by bit, the ecosystem and the infrastructure of Merope was growing. But down in the south, down here, another civilization had formed. They call themselves the Selenites, and their capital, it wasn't really a capital city. I guess their main settlement was Solano. Now, it, like Titus in the north, had grown out of being on good land, and a few settlements had sort of bandied together and grown and expanded as well. And Solano had grown, but the Selenites didn't count them as like the Titans or like the Meropans. They thought of themselves as a different culture of people, a different kind of person, same human beings, but a different group. And so as Merope expanded down further and further south, they came across the Selenites more and more, and the Selenites pushed back against them. And so what eventually happened was conflicts began. The Selenites had their land in the south, and they had also been spreading across to Alcyone, but we'll talk more about that in another video. But the Meropans were spreading south and were trying to conquer this land. And so it led to the first, I guess, friction between the Selenites in the south, and the Meropans from Titus and the regions to the mid and to the north of Merope. And so what happened is what is going to be the subject of the next video, which will be out in the next few days. The first great battle, the first great war of Earth started between the Selenites and the Meropans of Titus. And that is where empire first started for Titus, and where one man called Titavius first came onto the scene. And that is the subject of the next video.